Neil, I'm so glad to be with you today. Today we have Neil Patel. Neil, if you don't know who he is the founder of, seems like too many companies to mention. Most notably right now is Kissmetrics, but also neilpatel.com and Hello Bar and Crazy Egg. The main thing I want to say is that this guy is the most sort of prolific entrepreneur that I can imagine. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
The burning question that I want to ask, which is kind of like, how do you do it? You have, as far as I know, at least 3 ongoing companies, probably several more. You got a blog on which you are ridiculously prolific, and not just prolific in the sense of like writing a large number of blog posts, but each one of these things is like a masterwork of detail and value. Really, obviously, takes a long time to do, and now you've also just put yourself up to this ridiculous $100,000 a month challenge, which we'll talk about in a little bit as well. So how do you possibly get all that organized and prioritized and done?
So what most people don't realize is I have a big team, and a team helps. Like every company I have has quite a few employees, and I always hire people who are smarter than me. Mm-hmm. So it helps, right? Because if you have a team that's smarter than you usually can figure out how to get things done faster, more efficient. I also don't do as much people think. So for example, I haven't worked at Kissmetrics since 2014. I should probably actually do a blog post telling people that.
Yeah.
Most people still think I work there. Still love the company. I've just been invested for so many years. But same with my co-founder, Ethan Shaw, right? Him and I just focus on Crazy Egg now.
Crazy Egg.
But we have a team for every single project that we work on. Blogging is just fun, so that I enjoy. A lot of posts don't take me that long. So infographic posts take me 15 minutes to write. I kid you not, just 15 minutes. Because someone else figures out the topic, they send it to me for approval, someone does a research, and then someone designs an infographic. I look over it. If I like it, I write a quick summary, conclusion, post it up. Editor goes in, corrects any grammar, spelling issues. The other blog posts on average take me like an hour to 2 hours to write. So like I wrote one on URL structure the other day. It took me like an hour and 15 minutes to write that. Mm-hmm. Because all these topics I already know like the back of my hand, so it's not that hard to write on.
Yeah.
And as for the blogging challenge, it's just a fun thing, right? Like a lot of people are telling me, yeah, you can't make a lot of money from a blog. I'm like, you know what? With 10 grand, I bet you I could make 100 grand a month. And then I'm starting the blog and we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Particularly about the Neil Patel blog and having writers and editors on that. That's not like you said, not something that probably most people know about. I also didn't know that you were not involved.
I don't really have any writers for any of the blogs. I have editors.
Oh, you don't?
People who do the infographics. So Neil Patel, those blog posts take me a lot longer, but it's a personal blog because eventually with QuickSprout, I'm going to end up releasing a software product on there, right? So my same Crazy co-founder is part of that company. And the reason I've been ramping up Neil Patel, and that blog probably takes me 10 plus hours a week, but I'm willing to do that because in the long run, if something happens to QuickSprout, let's say it gets acquired or whatever it may be, I won't have a personal blog. Uh-huh. And that's the only reason why I'm like spending so much time on Neil Patel and building it up.
So it's your safety net.
Exactly.
What kind of like blows my mind about your blog posts is that somehow you pick subjects that are like always exactly the thing that I am like interested in. Like there's nobody who writes. I subscribe to a lot of stuff, and there's nobody who I forward blog posts of more than you, because it's like incredibly useful and like spot on in terms of the subject. So what I want to understand is, how do you do that?
I get so many emails of people requesting topics that I pick from there. 2, I also have a guy who works for me on my staff named David. Him and I brainstorm topics every Sunday for the week for QuickSprout and neilpatel.com, because that way it helps me write much quicker, right? And then when we brainstorm, him and I also work on the outline together, because like I'll tell him like when we're doing the URL structure, I was like, oh yeah, I'm like, that should be a good one. I'm like, I'll talk about X, Y, and Z topic. And then he was like, don't forget A. But like we just do that over dinner, right? Like it's quick, easy. It doesn't take us more than like 30 minutes to figure out 2 or 3 topics,
Uh-huh.
if not even more. But yeah, that's mainly the way. I also use BuzzSumo a lot. And then BuzzSumo, I type in keywords, and it'll tell me what's popular in my space, so it gives me headline ideas. And lastly, what I do is I read a lot on the web, same with my co-founder, Ethan. And he'll pass me an article and say, like, oh, this is a good article, you could probably write a better version. Or I'll read something that someone else wrote, and I'm like, oh, I can create a spin on it. They wrote an article on social media, like 6 ways to maximize your social media click-throughs. I'm like, oh yeah, I can probably do that for SEO, 6 ways or 7 ways to maximize your SEO click-through rate. So it's like stuff like that. It makes it really simple because if the social media one did really well, the chances are the SEO one would do really well.
Right. So that's interesting. You say you spend a lot of time reading on the internet. I think that it's easy for entrepreneurs to kind of just get lost in clicking around and like spending a lot of time. How do you make sure that the time that you're spending, clicking around the internet is valuable?
So one, I only do it during free time. Two, I make sure that the articles I'm reading and clicking through typically have a lot of social shares. I may not be the first to read them, but the chances are the quality is great because the content got shared a lot. So I don't want to be the first.
Right.
By being the first, you end up going through a lot of crap as well.
Interesting.
I want to be a few days late.
Got it. And so what are some top blogs or media outlets that you follow on a regular basis?
So I like reading sites like TechCrunch because it keeps me up to date on industry news. I look at Crunchbase a lot, tells me what's happening with my competitors from a financial aspect. I also read a lot of marketing blogs from Copy Blogger to Social Triggers to Moz. But yeah, it's just a ton of industry blogs, and I'll also read like a lot of business related sites such as Fred Wilson's blog or Brad Feld's, right, etc. And the other thing I do is I read or technically listen to a lot of books. So when I'm in Vegas, I did this thing in which I installed speakers throughout my whole house, like bathrooms, everything. And then I plugged in audiobooks into the home automation, and it runs like at pretty much 2x speed, and continually new and new books are playing. So whether I'm listening to them or not, every single day I'm getting tidbits of knowledge from books, general books that people are saying are great. And I may have a queue of like 300 books in there, right? And it just keeps going and going and going.
Wow. So that's obsessive. So, no, that's great. I find that I can't really work with noise happening, but that's amazing. So tell me about this. You have been pretty public about the stuff that you've tried that hasn't worked, and it seems like there's a lot of it, and you've said things like you just have to give each software company a few years to take off. Meanwhile, you bought recently, a couple of years ago, Stride app, and then have recently closed that. It's pretty easy, I think, to realize when things are working, right? When you've got traction and things are going well, like that's pretty obvious. But how do you know kind of like when to quit? And when it's when your idea is fundamentally not going to work, or on the other hand you need to just continue to persevere and give it those couple of years to take off.
So we look at the market. So assuming the market cap's big enough and we can create a good product and compete, and there's a specific angle that we can take to grow, we go and do it. So like the problem with Stride app was we were growing, we're getting traction. We mainly bought it, what most people don't realize is because we bought it for like less than 1x profit.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was so cheap to buy, we knew we could flip it right away and end up making money.
Mm-hmm.
So the purpose of Stride app was never really to try to grow it, right? Create the story, whatever it may be. We got a sweet deal because someone said, hey, if we can create press that you and your co-founder ended up buying Stride, we'll give it to you for pretty much free. So
yeah.
We're like, okay. Because then we put our names behind it, redo the software, and I'm like, I can flip it to someone and make some money. In addition to that, HubSpot at the time was working on a CRM, and they were giving it away for free. And we knew that they were pretty much taking the same model that we were going to. right? And because it wasn't our passion or our core, wheelhouse, we decided to just dump the business and get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like we wouldn't lose any money, we'd make money, and hey, there's little to no risk at that point, right? Why try to compete with someone who's going to use the same strategy that you are when you're not actually even passionate about the business?
Mm-hmm.
But I typically don't start businesses that I don't think will work, right? Like I usually have a really good understanding if something will hit, and I do it based off of traffic. So I'll build the audience before I start the company. So QuickSpot will release marketing software in the next 3 to 6 months, the paid version. And within that software, the chance of it working are really high, assuming we create a somewhat decent software, because it's on a bad month, I have 750,000 unique visitors. That's enough people going to a blog that'll purchase something, right? Mm-hmm. If I can make over $100,000 a month just selling ebooks on that website, how hard would it be to make money from a software that's reoccurring, mm-hmm. right? But I typically quit when I know I can't get traction quick enough, the market cap isn't big enough, right? Because owning a small piece of a really large market is much easier than owning a really big piece of a small market. Mm-hmm. And lastly, I always quit if I can't find a good team. I usually don't even start if I can't find a really good team.
How do you organize that? I've had, pretty hit and miss, mostly miss luck when I've started businesses with partners. And so what is your thought? And at the same time, we have Silicon Valley that, often is pretty obsessed with companies that are started as partnerships, like two founders or whatever. What is your take on partners, and how do you organize the relationship between your kind of founding team and yourself?
Yeah, I keep it really simple. So my co-founder of Crazy Egg, Ethan Shaw, is a co-founder of Hello Bar with me, Kissmetrics, even QuickSprout, although technically he doesn't blog, but he deals with the software side. And QuickSprout started as a personal blog, and then he wanted to create a business. I'm like, cool, you can have half. But him and I just do all our businesses together. So there's very little risk because we know how each other works. Plus, he's married to my sister. So it's if something's wrong on that end, I can go complain to my sister. I'm like, take the shave. He's not on it. I'm like, I'm kidding, but he's always on it. But yeah, she's actually the glue. She keeps us working really well together. But yeah, I usually don't pick new business partners. Him and I just continue working together because we know each other. Uh-huh. There's no real issues, because after 11 or 12 years, however long we've been working together, things are pretty smooth sailing, right? Yeah. And as for the team, if you look at most employees, they come from company to company. So it's the core team usually isn't new people.
Right.
Add new people as we build, because you have no choice.
Right.
But usually the first few engineers, the first few designers, first few product managers, they all come from previous companies. I never go and hire new people. I'll hire people with a track record that I've worked with in the past, that I know I get along with and can execute fast. Yeah.
So how many people do you have working for you across all your businesses right now?
I don't know the exact number. My guess is 100 and something. Mm-hmm. Above 100, under 200.
Yeah. So on your About page, it says, see, I was born with a gift. I'm able to help websites get a ton of eyeballs on the web. And I wonder, obviously that's not the gift that you were actually born with. That's not something that babies come with. But it's something, it's something, you're speaking about something, right? There's some kind of insight that you have that makes this easy for you. And what do you think that is? What is the insight that you have that a lot of people are missing?
I'm just really creative. I think I'm a bit crazy too, to be quite frank, but I'm really creative. I was walking in downtown San Diego the other day, and I was like, it would be awesome. And then my buddy's like, what? I'm like, I bet you I can make money from these bus ads. And really? I'm like, just watch. I'm going to put pictures of my face on all these bus stops and the benches. And the message is going to say, stop sitting on my face, neilpatel.com. I'm like, just watch. I'll make a positive ROI from it. Uh-huh. And he's just like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, this will be a fun experiment. Let's throw 20, 30 grand at it. Let's see what happens. But
okay.
It's super creative and weird, right? I was like, I try a lot of stuff.
You try a lot of stuff. And so you think that's the gift, the sort of the difference is that you're just constantly thinking, you're constantly imagining new possibilities that other people just don't see.
Yeah, like I look at different angles and opportunities. Like for example, there's different places where I do business, and especially in Southern California, where they're really materialistic, and I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Santa Barbara is actually different, but if you go to LA, San Diego, places like that, it's very materialistic societies. And what I found is by being within a few of those entrepreneur groups over the years, there's actually a lot of money there.
Mm-hmm.
But unless like they think that you're one of them, they tend not to do a lot of business with you. And there's like a ton of money there, right? Some of those guys are sitting on like hundreds of millions of dollars that they don't know what to do with. So I was just like, and they're all into cars, right? And like fancy homes and stuff like that. And I don't care for either of them. I don't even drive. So I was like, you know what? I'm like, let's try one-upping them. I'm like, let's get a helicopter. Let's see if I can actually make a positive ROI from the helicopter. I still haven't done a blog post on it, but I should. And I actually figured out how to get a helicopter and make more money off of materialistic people in those regions than the actual cost of the helicopter. And it's actually hilarious. I don't even use this stupid helicopter. I'm like, it's inconvenient because the helicopter can't land anywhere, right? But like still, I was actually turning it into a cash flow positive thing. So
Yeah.
well.
So you actually bought a helicopter and made a company around it.
I leased a helicopter,
Uh-huh.
and then I found a few guys that I know who have big mouths, and I told them because I knew they would, I told them like, don't tell anyone, and I knew they would tell the whole world. And then one dude hit me up. He's just like, hey, I'll give you 30% of my business, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, what's 30% worth? He's like, well, 30% would net you over $100,000 a month in income. I was like, all right, cool, done deal. All because I have a stupid helicopter. I'm like, this is retarded. But I'll take it.
Okay.
My guys, the work to do. So it's like my cost on it is 20 grand, right? I keep 80 grand. I'm like, that's a good deal every month, right? For getting a helicopter that I don't even have to use.
Wow. So that's a great story. And the people in the room here are trying to hold their laughter in, actually.
But it wouldn't work without the guy with the big mouth.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So that's actually what it brings up to me is that I want to talk about this this other blog challenge that you're doing in the nutrition space, because that is that's some balls to post something like that, like kind of put your reputation online in a certain way, like I can do this thing, watch me, I'm going to start from scratch, I'm going to tell you how I do it along the way, and I think that first of all I want to hear about like what your plan is. But I also want to hear, I wonder if you don't have kind of like a larger, more holistic vision for like how this project plays into the Neil Patel brand and the whole story, right? Because to me, like I'm just thinking like, well, that's not just, that's like unbelievable PR. Like you're gonna get on on TV for this, and you're gonna be in magazines everywhere for this, for putting this on, and and right? So. A, I want to hear like what the plan is, and then B, how do you conceptualize kind of like these bigger picture, how it all like fits into the Neil Patel mothership?
Yeah, so I have a ton of investments, right? I rarely ever talk about them, but I have investments in like all categories of stuff. I do a ton of real estate, a ton of different internet properties that most people haven't heard of, and people run them. So with the nutrition one, I realized there was a big enough market cap. I also know a few people in the nutrition space that can end up creating the content. Because me writing content on nutrition, it's probably not going to go well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Press, I'm probably not going to get much press for it other than people linking to my own blog on ClickSprout, right? Which isn't really worth the work. But eventually I'll end up giving someone a large percentage to be the face of the company and to run it and create the content, and I'll do the marketing. Because for me, I learned this from a guy named Phil Black, who's part of True Ventures. I don't want to be the king. I don't want the press around my name. I want to be the kingmaker. See, kings get replaced. They get overthrown eventually, right? No kings in power forever. But the kingmaker, I can keep adding them, and I can keep milking money or making money off of each and every single king, right? So it's like, what I'm doing there is I'm going to start a nutrition blog because I know so many people in the health and fitness space. and they're making like an arm and leg millions of dollars a month from these blogs. And I'm like, I can get way more traffic than these guys. I'm gonna end up building a huge Facebook audience. I think I'm already at 16,000 fans in like a week or so. I'll get it up to probably like 30 to 40,000 by the end of the month, which isn't too bad. And then from there, I'll continue to grow it, write the content, create posts, leverage my network to try to do manual link building, right? And then just write better content than everyone else in the space. Because if you look at it, people in this space write crap content. Most people don't know how to actually market it. And they're getting millions of visitors a month because it's just this large market. So I'm just going after a large market and just out executing everyone else. And that's it. How I'll make money, I'll either sell products like, green juice, or pills that give you vitamins or probiotics or something, right? I have no idea on the monetization, but I just thought it would be a fun experiment because I get hit up every day from so many people saying, hey, can you teach me how to make money? And that's actually a large portion of the emails I get. I'm like, you know what, let me just walk them through a journey and I can just put them to the posts.
So that was it. It was just that simple. It's not like a part of a grand scheme.
Nah, I thought it would be a fun experiment. Because I also get bored too and I don't know what to do next.
Of course.
So I'm like, all right, what else can I do that would be challenging and fun? Hence like the helicopter, right? It's stupid, but it's just like pure amusement. Can I end up figuring out how to get people to like spread some rumors that would make me more money?
So people don't know how to market in the space, right? And you're kind of like known as one of the growth hacker guys. You have I think an ebook about it or something like that, right? And you even have somebody wrote down the definition. Growth hackers using their knowledge of product and distribution find ingenious technology-based avenues for growth that sometimes push the bounds of what is expected or advised. Tell me, do you identify as like a growth hacker? Like, does that seem like you're, do you see that?
I just see it as a marketer. Growth hacker is fine too. A lot of people won't agree with this. Like Sean also views a growth hacker as someone different than a marketer. To me, growth hacker is just the evolution of marketing.
Yeah. And what is it that that people are missing? You say that like everybody sucks at marketing. Like, what are the key things that everybody's missing?
Creativeness. So it's like most people aren't too creative. Without being creative, you won't be able to do really well. Most people in marketing are like, oh, pay-per-click is working, CRO is working, SEO is working. Well, that's fine. If it's working, everyone's going to end up doing it. You have to go look for new channels in new ways. That involves creativity. When I hire marketers, the number one thing I look for is how creative of a person are they? Because without that, they won't ever be great.
And so you're just kind of like cruising the web and looking for new channels all the time.
Always.
And
that's why I blog, and most people don't get it. People think I blog because they're like, oh, it's cool, you're building your brand. I'm like, no. One, I enjoy it because it's a stress reliever for me, kind of like ironing. That actually could only be me as well. But so blogging for me is a stress reliever. I travel a lot on the plane, so it lets me get my words out. And the other big thing is, by blogging, people are commenting and emailing me and telling me things that they're trying in tactics. Like I got an email the other day from someone who's like, hey, my stats show that I can triple your email collection rate. And you just have to check out this plugin. I forgot the name of the plugin. And they're breaking down in an email and showing me graphs and charts on how it's true. And they're like, if you want, I'll just do it for you for free. And then I'm like, cool, thanks. I'm like, what do you want in exchange? They're like, nothing. I was like, awesome. I learn a lot by blogging. As much as I'm teaching other people, I'm actually probably getting more knowledge.
And then there's the foundation for the next business. That's pretty much like, that's the Neil Patel model, is blog, build an audience, figure out how to monetize it.
Bingo.
Okay, good. Well then on that note, I want to just ask one last question, which is, you are obviously a born entrepreneur, right? Like you are ridiculously prolific. You got this creative energy. You got 4,700 things going on, and you say you're still bored. And that's just not the way it is for everybody. So I'm just curious, in your experience or from your perspective, are entrepreneurs always born, or can they be made?
I think they can be made as well. I've seen some people turn themselves into entrepreneurs and they've done well. I just think if you're born, it is a bit easier, right? It's just like some people are naturally talented. Some people are meant to be basketball players. Sure, practicing every day does make you better, but if you went out there or I went out there and we played basketball every single day from the age of like 2 years old or when we were 1, we still wouldn't be in the NBA,
Yeah.
right? You can't always train yourself to do something or be someone. So I do think being born does help. Now, does that mean that you can't, not everyone can train themselves to be entrepreneur? No, of course not, right? You can train yourself to get better or improve your skills, but some people are just more gifted than others, right? Some people are just more naturally smart. They're better in school. Some people are just better programmers. Some people are more creative. And yeah, you could try to fill in the gaps, but just being born with certain things helps out.
Yeah, and the fundamental thing you think is just creativity and seeing things a different way.
Exactly. Even in entrepreneurship, it really comes down to creativity.
I have learned a lot today. Like, I wondered, the big question I had was, how the hell is this kid so prolific? And the answer is that you're a delegating machine. It sounds like you've got a team and you're making it happen. You don't spend too much time on any one thing, and there's actually not a particular secret sauce to getting it all done. It's just setting up structure and making it all happen.
Setting up structure and hiring really good employees, right? And I think that's where most people make a mistake. A lot of people try to hire a lot of people, like big teams. And sure, in many businesses, you need a big team. But I'd rather hire less people and overpay them. Like, I think our average salary is somewhere well into the six figures for every single employee.
Out of 100 people.
Yes. But we go well above and beyond in hiring really talented people. Like, we have some people on payroll who are making like 750, 800 grand a year plus, right? And we have a lot of people in sales making like 200-300 grand plus a year, etc. Right? A lot of engineers making the 200s as well. But I'm a big believer you hire people who are smarter than you. Because if you hire people who are smarter than you, you won't have to hire as many people. You don't have to nitpick, micromanage. The beautiful part about delegating and managing is if you hire smart enough people, there's not really much to manage.
Wow, that's some interesting numbers you just threw out there. Very good. So delegation for you is just a matter of like painting the picture and putting it in the hands of the right people.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, Neil, again, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much for your insight, and I look forward to watching you over the next year or so.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right. See ya.